Hello, freaks, geeks, degenerates, and basement dwellers. Welcome to the War Zone. I'm Scruffy, and this is Skruffytalez. And we are gonna take a look at primarily Andrew Perpetuas' map, I think, because he is showing us something really interesting. It appears as if Ukraine is pushing back at Vovchansk. So we are gonna take a look at the Ukrainian front line like we always do, and we've been focusing a lot of late on this section where Ukraine has been securing the rear of their lines, mopping up Russian infiltration units, and they have slowly begun pushing into occupied territory around Rybne, Novoroivka, and down towards Novomykolivka. There's some debate between the maps, you might say, if Ukraine has pushed towards Novomykolivka from the north or from the west, but they do appear to be outside of Novomykolivka. But we have another section of the front line that we have to talk about, and we're moving over to Andrew Perpetuas' map, zooming out a bit, and we're moving up away from the Zaporizhzhia front line, and we are gonna zoom in on Vovchansk and take a look at this. Blue, Ukraine is pushing Russia back and doing what they're doing at Zaporizhzhia, essentially mopping up Russian infiltration units by the looks of it. Now, Ukraine has quite a ways to go. The Russians are in the forest here. This is, excellent territory for infantry to defend. Wide forests, lots of cover, more than likely lots of trenches that the Russians have secured when they push the Ukrainians back. And the Russians have more or less control of Vovchansk itself. But take a look at this. Ukraine is pushing back, and the Russians, they are spread out. They do not have a continuous foothold here south of Vovchansk. This is extremely encouraging. Ukraine is, not as aggressively being forced back as we have been led to believe. They still hold on to territory south of Vovchansk, and the Russian advance is not as as effective as we have been led to believe. Ukraine has control over a lot of territory, and they can still contest Lyman, contesting Vilcha, Suminivka, Ravske, and these smaller towns here south of Vovchansk. And it does appear as if we have a pocket here with the Ukrainian resistance. The Russians are trying to encircle it. The question is how much control Russia has of this area here, and if Ukraine can move back and forth. It does seem a bit difficult for Russians to reaching this. This is the crucial area that the Russians needs to break into to isolate this pocket. And I doubt they're going to be moving on foot across this field. They need to come down this way here, but that is listed as under Ukrainian control. Then maybe cross this open space from the woods here. Again, a difficult approach for the Russians. So just looking at the map, I'm thinking that this passage here is under Ukrainian control, and the Ukrainians can move back and forth here and reinforcing the pocket. That is very good, and that is excellent. And but yeah, excellent stuff. The Russians are not as aggressively as we have been led to believe challenging Ukrainian positions here. Ukraine is still very much in control of lots of spaces. They're still in control of most of Vilcha. They have presence at Lyman. Trouble at Ravske, has to be said. But I mean, you have Ukrainians in Synelkove and Tsekhelne. That's almost Arabic, sorry about that. So not only at Zaporizhzhia are we seeing Ukraine pushing the Russians back along this front line here, we are, and take a look at this here we have Ukrainians taking POWs around Primorsk. We know that Ukrainians have pushed into Stepnohirsk and potentially isolating a bunch of Russians up here. And here we have Ukrainians taking POWs in around Primorsk. So Ukraine is not just having success down around Zaporizhia. We're now also seeing Ukraine having some success at Vovchansk. So we saw the beginning here at Lyman at Kupiansk, where the Ukrainians were pushing the Russians back. Then we saw the Ukrainians having success along this section here, and now things might maybe be happening up here at Vovchansk as well. With some luck, Ukraine can maintain momentum and seize initiative and push the Russians back at Vovchansk as well. And we might be seeing the effects of Pokrovsk. The Russians just pushed in everything they had into the battlefield at Pokrovsk and Mirnorad, and they lost thousands. I can't even imagine how many tens of thousands of troops were killed along this part of the battlefield last year, and I think that is what's having an effect here. The Russians put everything they had, something like 33%, a full third of all their assaults took place here in this small area. They really focused on Pokrovsk, and they lost tens of thousands of troops in 2025 due to this massive effort to trying to take Pokrovsk. And we might see the effects of that brilliant Ukrainian defensive campaign now on other sections of the front line, with Ukraine pushing back at Zaporizhia, Kupiansk, and potentially Vovchansk. And so yeah, 2026 might end up being a very interesting year for the Ukrainians, to say the least. And what we're seeing might be what I've been talking about, throughout 2025 and during the final months of 2024, when we began seeing the Russians making moves on Pokrovsk, and we saw the Ukrainians, of course, holding on to territory up in Kursk. And I don't know how many of you were around at the time, but if you remember, I said that Ukraine would focus its defense on Pokrovsk and on holding Kursk, because what would that force the Russians to do? It would force the Russians to move units from all over the front line to support these battles. And that is exactly what we saw happen. They moved troops from all over the place to these specific battles in order to, up in Kursk, they needed to push the Ukrainians out, obviously, but they were also hell-bent on taking Pokrovsk. And remember, I said it would be Stalingrad. This is where the Ukrainians could trap the Russians and lure the Russians to just pile in troops, and they could grind them down. And if they did manage with these two battles, holding the line at Pokrovsk and holding the line up at Kursk, they could weaken the Russians to such an extent that maybe, yes maybe, Ukraine could actually launch counterattacks, maybe at Vovchansk, maybe elsewhere, maybe down here, maybe even in and around Pokrovsk itself. You never know, but the point was, like I said, to gradually weaken the Russians to such a massive extent that it would open up opportunities along the entire front line, right? That is why I said that Pokrovsk, when the war is over and you study the war, you would be able to more than likely read about Pokrovsk as being the defining battle where Russia lost the war, because they just wasted manpower and resources at Pokrovsk, and that allowed Ukraine to open up counterattacks. Since the Russians lost too much of their army at Pokrovsk, and in combination with Kursk, it would probably set the stage for future Ukrainian campaigns. And maybe that is what we're seeing. maybe what we're seeing is Ukraine exploiting the fact that Russia lost so many troops at Pokrovsk, and also while trying to push towards Pokrovsk. I mean, the Pokrovsk campaign was a disaster from beginning to end for the Russians. So maybe what we're seeing is Ukraine seeing a chance to pushing back against the Russians over here, as well as over here, and now maybe at Vovchansk. I'm thinking Pokrovsk was a massive success for the Ukrainians, and like I said, more over a year and a half ago, the Vatniks didn't like it at the time. Pokrovsk had the potential to break the Russian army, and maybe, just maybe, we're seeing evidence of that. We're seeing the beginning of that playing out. And with that, I hope I'll see you in the next one. As always, gå på marsch, Ukraine, and give them hell.
Every street's a gray, concrete whispers, no one left to save. Shadows move fast, faster than light. City of ashes, born out of a fight. The mud swallows boots and hope alive. Blood pools deep where artillery strikes. Rat's my neighbor, a ghost my guide. Rubble and ruin, scream in the air. City of ashes, death everywhere. Step through the fire, step through the flame. City of ashes calls my and tight, songs and grenades, death takes its bite. Blood on my hands, sweat in my eyes. No time to mourn, no time to cry. Wrath is blind, the drones looks down on a wall that swallows men and towns. Deadly embrace, behind every corner waits death's pale face. Rubble and ruin, scream in the air. City of ashes, death everywhere. Step through the fire, step through the flame. City of ashes calls my name. Glory to the heroes, we die without shame. The air smells sharp like burning steel. Each breath a curse, not all wounds heal. A hymn of bullets, a choir of fear. Close your eyes, it won't disappear. The trench is home, the grave is near. Mud and thunder, skies turn black. The devil grins, we will attack. We must go forward, no turning back. Concrete jungle, no trees, no shade. Every step closer to a shallow grave. Smoke rises high, blocks out the sky. City of ashes where soldiers